Example 4. Find the slope and the y-intercept of the line with the equation 3 onto y plus 2 equals 6x minus 1, and then graph it. So we'll start with our equation. 3 onto y plus 2 equals 6x minus 1. We want to find the slope and the y-intercept, and we want to graph it. The easiest way to do that is to convert it into slope-intercept form, which means get y by itself. So first we'll distribute. We have 3y plus 6 equals 6x minus 1. The good news, the y is already on the left and the x is on the right, so we just need to move our constant over. Subtract 6 from both sides. And we have 3y equals 6x minus 7. Then we divide everything through by 3. So we get y equals 2x minus 7/3. Now we can answer the question. What is our slope?
2.
Positive 2. What's our y-intercept?
Negative 7/3.
0, comma, negative 7/3. That's the information we were asked to find. All that leaves us to do is to graph it. So let's come over here in the graph and let's talk a little bit about the best way to get this graphed from the information that we have. If we're going to graph using slope-intercept form, I need to know where to put my first point. My first point needs to be at 0, negative 7/3. Negative 7/3 is about how much?
2 1/3.
Negative 2 1/3. So negative 2.3. Okay. So let's go put a dot at 0, comma, negative 2.3. So that would be about right here, not quite halfway. Then I need to count a slope of positive 2 over what? 1. So we go up 1, 2, and over 1. And we'll do that a couple more times. Up 1, up 2, over 1. Once you have enough points on your line there, we'll go ahead and connect them with as straight a line as we possibly can. And remember to put arrows on the end indicating that it goes on forever. And that's how we graph from slope-intercept form. We've done that in another section already, but your book officially introduces it right now. Let's shift gears for a minute and let's go back and review what does it mean to be parallel. If we say two lines are parallel, that means what about their slopes? Parallel. Parallel is same slope but different y-intercepts. What about perpendicular lines? They have opposite reciprocal slopes. So we'd like to determine whether the lines represented by 4x plus 8y equals 10, 4x plus 8y equals 10, and 2x equals 12 minus 4y are parallel, perpendicular, or neither. The easiest way for me to do that is just to convert them both to slope-intercept form. So that's what I'm going to do. Then we can compare the two slope-intercept forms and see what relationship these two lines have to each other. Starting over here with 4x plus 8y equals 10, let's move the 4x to the other side. And that gives us 8y equals negative 4x plus 10. Divide both sides through by 8 and simplify, and we have y equals negative 1/2 x thus 5 over 4. So there's slope-intercept form for this guy. Moving over now to the second line, we need to get y by itself on one side. It really doesn't matter which. So is it okay with you guys if I just subtract 12 from both sides here? So I move the 12 over to the other side. And that gives me 2x minus 12 equals negative 4y. Divide everybody through by negative 4. So both sides of the equation divided by negative 4. We have y equals negative 1/2 x plus 3. I just turned it around at the very end there. Is that okay? Look at those two equations. What do we notice about their slopes? They're the same. But they're not the exact same line. They have different y-intercepts. This one has a y-intercept of 0, positive 5/4, and this one has a y-intercept of 0, 3. So they have the same slope but different y-intercepts, making them parallel. So these two lines are parallel. If you graph them both in your graphing calculator, you would be able to see that relationship very quickly. Put the first one into y1 and the second one into y2. You can kind of check and make sure that they're really parallel. Here's another problem, very, very similar. I'm going to pause for a couple of minutes and give you guys a chance to work through it on your own. It says, determine whether the lines represented by 4x plus 8y equals 10 and 4x minus 2y equals 21 are parallel, perpendicular, or neither. Okay, so you guys took some time, you worked it on your own. Talk to me about 4x plus 8y equals 10. Is this the same problem from before?
Yes.
Yes. So we know that y equals negative 1/2 x plus 5/4. Agreed? Okay. So now we just need to talk about the other one. 4x minus 2y equals 21. You moved the 4x to the other side and it became negative 4x plus 21. Then divided both sides by negative 2. And you got y equals what?
2x
2x plus or minus?
21.
Minus 21 over 2, or negative 10.5. Take a look at those two equations. What's the slope of the first one?
Negative 1/2.
Negative 1/2. What's the slope of the second one?
2.
Positive 2. Definitely not parallel, right? So they're not the same slope. Are they opposites? Is one positive, is one negative? One's positive, one's negative. Are they also reciprocals? So they are opposite reciprocals, meaning that they are perpendicular. Excellent. If I were to multiply this slope by this slope, what would it give me? Negative 1. Remember, that's another rule about perpendicular lines. Their slopes have to multiply together to equal negative 1. So for our next example, we would like to write the equation of the line passing through the point negative 2, 5, and parallel to the line y equals 8x minus 3. So we're being asked to write the equation of a line. To write the equation of a line, you need to know two things. What are they? We need a slope and we need a point on the line, right? Okay? Well, we were given one of those things. We were given that the point is negative 2, 5. Okay? I need a slope. What slope should I use for my problem? Why 8? Because we know that it has to be parallel to this guy. Well, this guy's slope is 8, meaning I also want my line to have a slope of 8. That's the only way the two lines are going to be parallel. Once you know those two things, you don't need this equation anymore. The only thing you needed this equation for was to steal the slope. Once you know what slope to use, start over with point slope form. Y minus y1 equals, in parentheses, x minus x1. And then just substitute in the points you were given, y minus 5 equals m. We decided that needed to be 8 so that it would remain parallel to y equals 8x minus 3, parentheses, x minus negative 2. Well, minus negative 2 really is plus positive 2. So really we have y minus 5 equals 8 times x plus 2. So y minus 5 equals 8x plus 16. Not 10, 16. So we have, what do we do next?
Move 5
Plus
over.
5.
Move the 5. That isolates the y. So now we have y equals 8x plus 21. What form is that? That's slope-intercept form. I usually abbreviate that SIF. I want you guys to convert that to standard form for me really quick. Go through now, convert to standard form, and let's talk about it. Remember that for standard form, you can't have any fractions, which we don't have, so that's good. And what else has to be true?
No negatives.
Yeah, we need the coefficient of the x to be positive. We're going to lead off with a positive. So you're telling me that when you converted, you got 8x minus y equals negative 21? Let's make sure we kind of walk through that. First off, to be in standard form, we need the x's and y's on the same side. So if I move the x's to the other side, I have negative 8x plus y equals positive 21. And already there are no fractions, so that's not a problem, but we're not allowed for standard form to lead with a negative, so we're going to change all three signs, giving us 8x minus y equals negative 21. And that would be standard form. So just pay attention when you're taking quizzes, tests, and on WebAssign, and see what we're asking for. We will always specify. Our final problem. Write the equation of the line passing through negative 2, 5 that is perpendicular to y equals 8x minus 3. So a very similar problem. I just changed the word
Perpendicular.
parallel to perpendicular. Once again, notice that we're being asked to write the equation of a line. To write the equation of a line, unless that line is vertical or horizontal, you have to know at least one point and you have to know the slope. So the first thing we need to do is identify those two. What point were we given? Negative 2, 5. So that's going to act as my x1, comma, y1 when I plug into point slope form. Then I need the slope. I wasn't given a slope, but I was given enough information to find the slope that we need to use. If I want it perpendicular to y equals 8x minus 3, that really means I want it
Negative.
Opposite versus.
opposite reciprocal. So what's the opposite reciprocal of positive 8?
Negative 1/8.
Negative 1/8. Those are the two things I'm going to use for this problem. So now I'll start fresh with my formula. Y minus y1 equals in parentheses x minus x1. Close the parentheses. And I'll substitute in the three quantities that I know. Y minus 5 equals m, which is negative 1/8, times x minus negative 2, which is really x plus 2. From there, we'll distribute the negative 1/8. Y minus 5 equals negative 1/8 x minus what?
19 or 1/4.
Minus 1/4. And then if I add 5 to both sides, I will have slope-intercept form. Plus 5, plus 5. So y equals negative 1/8 x. What is negative 1/4 plus 5? 19/4. If you're not sure about that, remember that 5 is 20 over 4. So negative 1 over 4 plus 20 over 4 is positive 19 over 4. That is which form? That's slope-intercept form. I want you now to take a couple of minutes and try to convert that to standard form. Slope-intercept form. I'll give you a hint. The first thing you're going to have to do is get rid of all of your
Fractions.
fractions. You're going to have to multiply through by the common denominator of 8. And then you'll work on getting your x over to the left. So take a second and see if you can convert it to standard form. So the first thing you guys did was multiply through by 8 on both sides. Let me rewrite it so we can kind of see it. We started here. You have to multiply both sides through by 8. So you have to multiply by 8 on the left, and you have to multiply the whole right side by 8. When you multiply the right side by 8, you have to remember to distribute and that gives you 8y equals negative 1x, because 8 times negative 1/8 is 1, negative 1x plus the 8 and the 4 simplify to 2, and 2 times 19 is 38. So now we have 8y equals negative x plus 38. Now we'll move the x to the left so that we'll have it in the right order. Something x plus or minus something y equals a constant. When the negative x goes over to the left-hand side, it becomes
Positive.
positive. So we have positive x plus 8y equals positive 38. And that is standard form. If you wanted to check it, because a lot of mistakes are made going from slope-intercept form to standard form, you could convert it back to slope-intercept form and double check it to make sure you're right, because people make fewer mistakes going from standard to slope-intercept than they do from slope-intercept to standard. Do you think we need to do one more of those where we convert the fractions, or are you pretty comfortable?
Comfortable.
Okay, well, we can call it a day then.